This is Unit 1, the Alphabet and Grammar of Geometry. Preview video 1.2, Algebra Review, Variables. Sit tall. Now, I know you're home alone. Follow along anyways. I'd like you to close your eyes. Sit tall. We're going to do 2 breaths. Ready? In through your nose. Deep breath, hold. Exhale, 5. Eyes still closed. Inhale. Hold. Exhale, 5. I know you're tempted to skip that part, but getting your brain calm and full of oxygen helps learning capacity. So resist the temptation to skip this breathing exercise. You're looking at preview video 1.2. Don't forget date, time, and location. For geometry, there are 3 key skills from algebra that you must be competent and have achieved mastery to be successful in this class. Those 3 skills are computational math, including fractions, solving with variables, and add, subtract, multiply, divide with radicals. This video is going to focus on the first 2, working with fractions and variables. 1, I really want you to do the best you can to avoid using calculators for anything that is single or 2-digit multiplication, division, addition, subtraction in this class. Do not touch calculators for simple computational math. We're going to start with fractions. When it comes to fractions, if you're on the same side of the equal sign, you can cancel. But if you're on different sides of the equal sign, you cannot cross cancel, you can cross multiply. So here on the left, you will notice that both of these fractions are on the same side. So it's like your own backyard. I'm in my own backyard right now. If you're in your own backyard on one side of the equal sign, you can rearrange the furniture as much as you choose to. So the example on the left, I can do this. 4 goes into 4 1 time, 12 3 times. 3 goes into 9 3 times, 6 twice. Now to actually multiply, to solve, then I go straight across, and I get 3 over 6. You can reduce that one more time and get 1/2. On the right-hand side, you cannot do this. Don't follow me right now. Oh, 3 goes in there 3 times, 3 goes in there 4. No. You're in 2 different backyards. You cannot take stuff away from your neighbor and cancel stuff out. However, you could be super nice to your neighbor and multiply. And you're like, why didn't you do 12 times 9, Miss Way? Because the key to multiplying is not multiplying, but factoring. The key to multiplying is not multiplying, but factoring. Why multiply 12 times 9 when you have to factor it out anyways? So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get rid of this 4. I'm going to bring it over. So I have x equals 12 times 9 over 4. And now I simply factor. 4 goes in there 3 times. Now I can multiply straight across. And 3 times 9, 27. The key to multiplying is not to multiply, but to factor. Dividing fractions. Dividing with a fraction is the same thing as multiplying its inverse. So the easiest way to do this is I take that second term, instead of dividing by 10/12ths, we're going to multiply by 12/10ths. And then here I have 5/9 equal. Since I'm on the same side of the equal sign, I can start rearranging the furniture. 5 goes into 5 one time. 5 goes into 10 twice. 3 goes into 9 3 times. 3 goes in here 4 times. Then you just multiply straight across. I have 4/6. Both are divisible by 2 still. So the final answer is 2/3. Adding and subtracting fractions. I do a property called arrow in, arrow out. So I look at the denominators and I determine what is the lowest common denominator, the LCD. And between 7 and 2, my lowest common denominator is going to be 14. Watch how I do this. Arrow in, arrow out. Following along with me. Arrow in. 7 goes into 14 twice. So you come around. I'm going to put a little baby 2 here. And 2 times 5 is 10. So this becomes 10/14. And I have a plus sign. Arrow in, arrow out. 2 goes into 14 7 times. I put a little baby 7 there. 7 times 1 is 7. So this is 7/14. Now you simply add the numerators now that the denominators are exactly the same. So we add and we're going to get 17/14. And you're done. Arrow in, arrow out. Over here on the right, I'm going to find the lowest common denominator of 4 and 6. And that's going to be 12. I'm going to show you, you can do this the other direction. For you lefties, it might be easier to go this way. Really doesn't matter which side. So I'm going to put the 12 over here. And now we're going to do arrow in, arrow out. 6 goes into 12 twice. 2 times 4 is 8/12. Minus 4 goes into 12 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9, so it's going to be 9/12. Arrow in, arrow out. Now I'm subtracting 9 minus 8. That's simply 1/12, and you are done. This page, you're going to do completely on your own, no calculator. Pause the video. Welcome back. You should have a red pen in hand. You could speed up the video real quick to get the answers if you want and check your work. If you want a thorough explanation, keep me on real time. I'm not going to explain as much detail. 5 goes in there once, 5 goes in there 5 times. I'm on the same side of the equal sign. That's why I'm canceling. 7 goes in there once, 7 goes in there 4 times. I multiply straight across. I have 4/5. You're done. Over here, I cross multiply. I have 12 times x equals 36 times 3. If you put 108 there, you did too much work. The key to multiplying is not to multiply, it's factoring. Divide both sides by 12, cancel. 12 goes into 36 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. Big star smiley if you got this correct. If you didn't get it correct, I expect a little note. What are you going to remember next time? Dividing with fractions. You should have finished this as well on your own. We're going to flip that. So I have 821 times 14 over 64. Should have canceled. 7 goes in there twice and 3 times. Going this way, 8 goes in there once and 8 times. So this is 2 over 3 times 8. Cancel one more. Final answer, 1/12. Add, subtract. Arrow in, arrow out. So my lowest common denominator is 18. So I have 18 here. 9 goes in there twice. This becomes 10/18. 2 goes in there 9 times, minus 9/18. Should have got 1/18 as your final answer. That's dealing with fractions. Now, working with variables. 2 things, key skills. You need to be able to solve for a single variable, and you need to be able to isolate one variable when you have 2. When you deal with distribute, I always want you to circle distribute. Circle distribute. Do not distribute in your head. So for example, this negative sign technically is -1. I'm going to circle distribute. Same thing here. Grab that sign, +8, circle distribute. It's also really important you only do one step at a time. I recommend you underline your variables and either double underline or circle your numbers, just some sort of distinctive way so that it's called physical collect. If you'd rather do something like circling the numbers instead, that's fine. Just be consistent. I tend to single underline the variables, double underline the numbers. Now we physically collect. -1 + 8, 7K. -6 + 24, +18 equals 10K. Your goal is to get the variables to one side and your numbers to the other. Always show your canceling and crossing out. Always show what you're canceling. What's really nice with solving for variables, if you really want, if this was a test, you can always take that variable and plug it back into the original equation and everything will balance out. So it's really easy to check your work. That's solving for a single variable. Now we're going to do isolating a variable when there's 2. So this time we're not going to get a singular numerical answer. Our goal is to isolate the variable y. This is a precursor to graphing at lines. This is the standard form equation of a line, which is ax ± by equals C. And we're going to change it into y equals mx plus b. That should ring a bell to you. In other words, we're going to isolate the y by itself. I have a storyline. If the storyline doesn't work for you, come up with your own. But here's my storyline. The goal is to get y by itself. Now I'm going to give a pronoun. Y is a young man. His date is girl 12. So this is a date. Here is another couple over here. And then we have a single person over here, no date. Y has some sort of attitude. Everybody wants to get away from Y. You know, I don't like this place. The music is whatever, not my favorite. The food's kind of not my favorite. My friends aren't here, blah, blah, blah. And instead of leaving the party like a gentleman would courteously do, gently, and let his date stay if he wanted to, he's just projecting bad vibes. So everyone's trying to get away from Y. So who leaves the room first? Let me tell you who doesn't leave the room first. The date, quote unquote, does not leave first. The date tries to stay. Okay. Oh, honey, please let's stay. I got my new hairdo. I bought new clothes. I want to stay. My friends are here. So the date tries to stay. Who leaves first? The other couple. So the other couple's going to go over here. Negative 12y equals negative 4x plus 36. Now, still projecting bad vibes, so the date finally figures out, I'm going to go make new friends. So we're breaking a heart, so it's more painful. We are dividing out. Very important. The date is not going to go to the next room and broadcast. Now, watch my analogy. Broadcast to everyone at the same time. He ditched me. What a terrible guy. No, I don't want you doing that. Instead, the date is individually going to go to each group in the room individually. Do you see my analogy here? Individually. And she's going to tell her story as many times as she can. Did you hear what this guy did to me? Did you hear what this guy did to me? Okay, so individually, none of this broadcast to the room thing. Now, even though mathematically some of you are allowed to get away with that, I don't want to see it. It's more likely students will make mistakes. So you individually divide each term. The date gossips individually, quote unquote, to each person. Cancel. So now y equals, now you just reduce 4 and 12 is 1/3. Double positive makes a negative. Double negative makes a positive. X minus 3. Ta-da! Isolating y. Y is now finally alone with his attitude. Isolating for a variable. Your job is to do this page completely on your own, then get your red pen and restart the video. Pause. Welcome back. At this, if you want to speed up the time of the video because you're just correcting, that's fine. If you want a slower explanation, keep me in real time. You should have grabbed the 8, distribute. Grab the -8, distribute. Double negative makes a positive. I like to underline my variables, double underline my numbers. Now you collect like terms, one on one side, one on the other. One step at a time. Some of you might have gotten stuck here, or you're like, what's going on? Friends, 0 over anything is just 0. This is how you should have tested it if you were kind of concerned. You come up here and you take a look, and we're going to put a 0 everywhere and see what happens. If I put a 0 in this X, that makes this 0. 0 makes that 0. Let's see what we would have ended up. We have 8 times 1, which is 8, equals -8 times -1, which is 8. Ta-da! Check. My little kitty cat just rubbed against my angles. Hello, friends. This is Sloopy. This is Sloopy. Sloopy, my kitty. Now she's going to go squirrel watching. Down here, isolating Y. Gossip to everyone, not announcing to the whole room. Both of these are divisible by 3, so it's 2/3 X minus 3. Again, if you're correct, big star smiley, woohoo! If you're not correct, totally fine. Spot the point where you make a correction, put a little arrow there, and write yourself a note. What are you going to remember? I expect you to summarize what are the main components of this lesson in your own words that you want to remember.